Okay, so after last week we spoke regarding the Skulat Israel, and we spoke on the Inyan Elohi, that is traditional and not traditional, and something that you can join and cannot join at the same time. This week we're going to speak about something that is not less important, and maybe even more. Kuzari, the book goes from pick to pick, from a high level to a high. And now we're going to speak on the concept of mitzvot. Listen carefully what the king has to say to the Chaver. הנה, חיזקתני בדעה אשר הגעתי אליה במחשבתי, וששמעתי החלום, והיא, כי אין האדם מגיע אל העניין האלוהי, כי אם על ידי הצו האלוהי, רצוני לומר, על ידי מעשים אשר יצווה עליהם האלוה. כי לולא זאת, היו רוב בני אדם מגיעים אל העניין האלוהי. שהרי כולם משתדלים לעבוד את האלוה כמיטב הבנתם. אף חוזה הכוכבים, והקוסם, ועובד האש, ועובד השמש, מאמיני השניות, ואחרים. So the king starts and basically says, so my result, my maskana, my opinion, after hearing you for such a long time and so many concepts, is what? Is that at the end of the day, the thing that is most important are the commands, the mitzvot that your God gave to you. Because what makes you really different from everyone else? At the end of the day, everyone tries to get to God. Everyone tries to have the Inyan Elohi. And you have it. Why you have it? Because what? Because you have the mitzvot, the commands from God. In some way, in our days, this claim is even stronger. Let's change for a second the words Inyan Elohi to the word morality. The morality of human beings. The entire world went to search after morality, right? Everyone tried. Kulam nisu lagia lamusara. The natural common sense, that basically defines what is good and what is bad. If we want to be honest, you had three different types of claims. The first claim was what? First claim was that if you want to be a damusari, a decent human being, you need to follow your intellect. You need to follow your mind. And when you follow your mind, basically, at the end of the day, the conclusion will be that your mind, your intellect, hasechel, equals what? Good deeds. And that's the pick of everything. That's basically the C. The most, in some ways, the best application of an intellect means that you are a good human being. Because logic equals good deeds. A person that is logical means that he has morality. The smarter the person is, more moral he is. That's the first claim. The second claim was what? Second claim built in some way on the first claim, and it gave an interesting theory. It said, you know what? It's not only you will be a good person, the laws of God are also what? They're all logical, they're all set, they're all perfect. But over here, this claim gave already the opportunity, the beginning of what? Of a secular tradition. Why is secular tradition? Because if the laws of God are set, logical, so why you need the laws of God? Gives the human beings the opportunity to define what are the laws, and therefore what will happen? Human being will be moral because everything depends on logic. And the other side, you had something we can call a Christian or a type of a Christian tradition that said what? That at the end of the day, the human being is not moral. Not only human being is not moral, he has no chance to do good deeds, to be a good person, because of the ancient sin, achet kadmon. And therefore, human being is corrupt. and is bad. And the only thing that can give relief to a human being, that can make him a person that does good deeds, is chesed, is a charity from God, or in their case, from Jesus. And this charity, following God, following Jesus, will make you a good person. That's the second type. Basically, it says human being is bad. Not only human being is bad, he never can get by himself to morality. So only thing here, you have charity, you have chesed from God that will help him. The third one, maybe in between the first two, the first two focuses that we gave, we can call it a Marxist evolutional theory. That basically that says that the only thing that is relevant in terms of musar, in terms of morality, is what human beings do right now. Even more than what human beings do right now, what helps human being to be wealthy? What helps human being to be rich? What helps human being to have power? And that is what? That is moral. I'll give you an example. If what helps a human being to be rich, if what helps human being to be powerful is what? Is not giving to the weak, so he shouldn't give to the weak. Now, it can be understood, because if a human being is powerful, that will sink down to the weaker people. But at the end of the day, a human being can justify actions that by themselves are not moral, or actions that by themselves look not good, because what? Because they give him power. That's in some way, as I said, that's a Marxist evolutional theory of Musa. If we want to be honest, if we check history, that the Christian perspective, we can say maybe, and it's sad to say, is the closest to reality. Because as we see, everything else failed. Human being always failed, time after time, time after time, time after time, right? The pick of the not religious perspective was where? Was in Germany, in Russia. And as we spoke about several times already, in Germany and Russia, you saw what happened with secular traditions. What they grew out of themselves. So maybe the Christians are correct. Maybe the human being is corrupt. But the problem is that the Christians also need to prove something. Because if their theory is true, who can explain what happened in thousands of years of galut, of exile to Am Yisrael by the Christians? If they are so moral, if they get morality from Chesed Eloi, why they are not moral? Lama hem lo musarim? And that's the reason we are pushed to say that there is a Jewish style of morality. The Jewish style of morality that is connected and almost one together with mitzvot. And I want to try and describe, it's not my theory, I'm following over here's work of Rabbi Eliezer Berkovitz. And I want to try and describe what it means to have Jewish morality. Because you know what, even if we assume that each one of these three types of morality is correct, that I said, we should ask ourselves even a better question. What actually makes a human being obligated to do the good deed? What actually takes care that a human being is obligated to choosing good? Who can push him? What helps him to choosing good more than when good stands against his own wealth, against his own passions? Really? What pushes him to choose the good, to choose in Musar? That's a wonderful question. Berkovitz has an interesting answer. Berkovitz, first of all, says, us as Jews, we believe that every human being has good. Every human being has a Yetzer Tov. You heard this term Yetzer Tov, right? But what it means, Yetzer Tov? Yetzer Tov means that one of his passions inside of him is to do good. What is the problem? Now, the same way he has a passion to do good, he has also passions for a lot of other stuff. He has passions for sports, he has passions for ice cream, he has passions to do bad. It's one of the passions. If you want to do good, what you need to do to endorse yourself, to push yourself, to apply this passion on reality. How do you do that? What is the best way to do that? So Berkowitz says at the end of the day, the best way to do that is only one word. Chinuch, education. How you educate yourself to choose good. How you educate yourself is to be a moral person. So if we would ask a lot of people from all over the world, they will answer the same answer. You want to be a moral person? So what you need to do, you need to study a lot. Books of philosophers, to read on morality, to try and be the biggest philosopher in the world. Right? That's basically the common answer. What I need to do if I want to become a better person. Learn about it, right? But to be honest, that's not the answer. Why it's not the answer? Because if I want to learn and be Michael Phelps, I want to be the best person in the pool that ever stepped into the water. What I need to do? To watch a movie of Michael Phelps? To read a book? How to swim? Doesn't work this way. If I want to be an Olympic swimmer, what I'm supposed to do? Sure. To swim, and a lot. Why? Because when I swim a lot, when I get actually to the competition, what happens to me? Then I can actually, when I stand before the challenge, and I attack the challenge, right? And then maybe I have a choice, maybe I have a chance to be Michael Phelps. Let's give a different example. If I want to be how to swim, if I want to be the best doctor in the world, what am I supposed to do? I want to be a good doctor. Let's see, not the best doctor in the world. I can go to university for 7 years and learn and learn and learn, but everyone understands that where it's defined if you're a good doctor or not, on what it's based. Experience. I would never take a doctor that only finished university. That's the reason you have the concept of what? Being a resident, right? And being attending, because you need to learn. You need to learn how to be a doctor. It's not enough to go to university. You need to do training. Why? Because after you learned, the training helps you to do what? To apply your knowledge. To have knowledge by itself, to say, I believe in good and I understand why I believe in good is not enough. You need to train. So how you train? How you train yourself to come to the second, to come to the moment and say what? I want to choose the good. And when I have a challenge, I will actually choose the good. What are you supposed to do? The answer of the Kuzari, and Berkowitz follows over here the Kuzari, is fascinating. He says, you want to train? So first of all, you need to train yourself to stop your passions. Not to be a slave of your passions. To put restrictions. Every person that goes on a diet understands this concept. Right? If you go on the diet, what it means, you need to stop your passions. If you want to learn how to eat correctly, so some stuff you need to stop. You need to say, I'm not going to eat whatever I want to eat. I will eat what is correct. Right? I will eat what is healthy. Even that I have a passion to eat right now a pint of a Ben & Jerry's burger bar, I will stop myself. Not at the same time, obviously. But it will be interesting if Ben & Jerry's will create a burger bar ice cream. I think about it.
I'd buy it.
I know. But listen, that's I don't know. I think that's pure logic, right? To train. So first of all, we do understand that even if you want to choose, you want to be a moral person, what you need to do? You need to train. But how do you train? So first of all, you restrict yourself. But you don't only restrict yourself. After restricting and restricting and restricting a little bit more, maybe you will be capable to stop yourself, to stop your passions, and to choose into good. But we still didn't answer the question why you would want to choose good. What pushes you to choose good? And over here, the second perspective enters. In our religion, not as the philosophers that we presented before, and not as Karl Marx that we presented before, not as Darwin that we presented before, and not as a materialistic perspective presented before, and not as Christians we presented before. We believe that a human being has two parts, not one. Two ideal, listen carefully, two ideal parts, two equal parts. One is the body, and one is the spirit. In some perspectives, for example, Plato says in Paidun that what? That the body is the jail of the soul. Want to be honest, the soul is way better than the body. And the body is the jail of the soul. That's the reason he doesn't care that what happens to him, if he dies or not. Because at the end of the day, the point is what? The point is the soul. We can see maybe the same perspective where? In the Christian society, where marriage is only what? Marriage is for the weak people. Why? Because the soul shouldn't have any such a thing as sexual intercourse. The soul shouldn't have anything as connecting to women, or women shouldn't connect to men, and that's the reason the ideal is to be a nun or a monk. The ideal is to fast. The ideal is to beat yourself. We see it all over. We see it all over when evolution speaks only on what? Only on the body. Doesn't speak on the soul at all. But we believe that what? That the body is equal to the soul. And since the body is equal to the soul, therefore mitzvot apply even better than mitzvot. Connection to God, ha'inyan ha'elohi, applies the same way it applies on the soul, it applies also on the body. Let's give an example. I can speak a lot on Yetziat Mitzrayim. Actually, I can speak about Yetziat Mitzrayim the entire night. But what is engaged when I speak on Yetziat Mitzrayim the entire night? Only my mind, only my intellect. I say midrashim, I speak, I learn, I give different stories, that's wonderful. Is the body engaged at all in Yetziat Mitzrayim? On remembering Yetziat Mitzrayim? No. How the body is engaged in remembering Yetziat Mitzrayim? By what? By eating the matzah. When you eat the matzah, Yetziat Mitzrayim becomes not only something you can remember only in the intellect, you remember it also by what? By doing a physical action. Want another example? Really interesting? Tefillah. What is tefillah? I can say tefillah is a type of meditation. But that's not true. Why it's not true? Because there's halakha that says what? You need to say Lachtoch et hamilim basfatayim. You need to say the words. You can't say it in your heart. You need to mumble. The halakha says you need to stand, to sit and stand, to sit and stand. It's like a yo-yo. Sit and stand, sit and stand, sit. What's happening over here? The halakha asks you to walk 3 steps, to walk again 3 steps. The halakha asks you to take a ridiculous plant and to shake it. She wants you to put tefillin on your body. Davening without all of this stuff is not what? It is davening, but it's not the Jewish style of davening. The Jewish style of davening is like David HaMelech said, Kol atzmotai tomarna. All of myself, my entire body, all my bones daven. Because davening is also the davening of the soul. But more than that, it's a davening of the body. And over here comes the next step. If I want to be honest, the Kedusha, this concept of Kedusha, this concept of Inyan Elohi, doesn't come by itself. What I mean doesn't come by itself. According to our tradition, according to what the Kuzari presents over here, The spirit is not holy. Haruach lo kedusha. There's no such thing as holy ideals. Any idealim kedushim. No such thing. What do you mean there's no such thing as holy ideals? The Torah is holy, but it's not. And I'll explain. When the holiness actually happens, the holiness happens when the ideals, the ruach, the spirit, and the neshama meets what? The body. A physical appearance meets the world. Only when they clash together, the kedusha comes out to the world. A kedusha is a connection between the two, between the body to the soul. Only when you have this connection, a kedusha can appear. We need to realize this fact. We need to understand. There's nothing holy if a human being is not connected. And there's no such concept of holiness if a human being is not over there. If the physical appearance is not over there. And I think this concept explains a lot what it means to have mitzvot. And I think this concept explains a lot what stands behind the mitzvot, but I'm not finished over here. There's Berkovitz takes us to the next step. I think he says over here something that is fascinating. According to what I said right now, what is the motivation to do the moral action? Lama? Lama shani yotze? What is the conclusion of everything I said till now? Listen carefully. Conclusion of everything I said till now is that when I train my body to do a moral action, what basically I do? I also open my body towards holiness, towards God. Right? That's basically mitzvot, is opening your body towards God, is giving your body, the chomer, the opportunity to meet God, to meet the Shekhinah. But at the same time, it's also training towards what? Towards the point that when you will get to the moral decision to do right or wrong, what will happen? You will choose right. Because also that's the way you suppress. You stop your what? You stop your passions. You challenge and you train and you educate your body to choose the good. You endorse the good. But at the same time, when you do the moral action, you also take your body and make your body part of the mitzvah, part of the connection to God. And also the opposite. When you do the not moral action, what happens? You go further away from God. In some ways, that's exactly the meaning of a sin. When you choose to go after your passions, that is exactly the opposite of what? Of the training of the mitzvot. That is exactly the sin. The morality, that is the way I meet you, I meet other human beings, becomes the biggest indicator to me meeting God. And me meeting God becomes the biggest indicator towards what? Towards morality. Think about it for a second. Let's think about the first sin ever. What is the first sin? It's a dat. The Mishnah Chochmah explains the following. He says that the Nachash came to Chava and offered her something. He told her, listen carefully. I know that God said not to eat from Etzadat. And that's true. And he told her, you want to be honest? You shouldn't eat from Etzadat at all. True. But what God didn't tell you, or what he did tell you basically, that when you will eat from Etzadat, you will be what? Way closer to him. You'll be way closer to God. In a way that even that you go against what he says, what will happen then? You will be closer to him. You would be like God, knowing good and bad. You will actually be connected to him. Yes, you did a sin, but you will actually be connected. That is the philosophy of the Nachash. The Nachash comes and tells you there's an alternative way to get to God. Not through the mitzvot. Not through, in the way we explain, what it means not through the mitzvot. Not through involving the physical approach towards the world. Not through believing that what you do with your body, what you eat or don't eat, it actually is important. Because there's something way higher than that, the Nachash says. But that's exactly against everything we believe in. That's exactly against the entire concept of Torah, the entire concept of our Jewish life. That is the reason why the Kuzari comes and tells the Chaver, I now understand that your real big plus is what? Is your mitzvot. The fact that you got orders from God what to do. Listen carefully what the Chaver answers. Omnam ken, you're right. V'chayele mitzvot toratenu. And exactly this, exactly like what you said, that's the mitzvot of the Torah. Kulam bedvar Elohim Moshe. Everything God gave Moshe. Betkulan katav Moshe u'mesaran la'amon na'atzumo bikatzam b'midbar. All of them Moshe told to Bnei Israel in the desert. Lo hatzorach b'yichidim shemsarun ad peh parasha parasha mitzvah mitzvah. Everything Moshe said, everything came directly from God. ואף תורי הקורבנות, כיצד מקריבים אותם, באיזה מקום ולאיזה צד, ואיך הם נשחטים, ומה מלאכות השונות, יש לעשות בדם ונתחים, כל אלה נותנו במפורש מת האלוה. למען לא יחסם לדבר קטן, שהידי כך יפסד הכל. All the קורבנות, all the actions of the קורבנות, all the physical actions were given directly by who? By God. Why? Because there is a point. There is a point giving orders. God gave physical actions because he had a point over here. The point was to stress, to explain to us understanding that worshiping God, being close to God, is not only through the intellect, it's not only having good ideals. It's even more than that, through what? Through the body. It's a connection of ideals and body. הלא גם האוויות הטבעיות שסתור לקבתם ביחסים דקים מן הדקים שדוקרותם לא תשיגה מחשבה. אילו נתקלקלו יחסי אחד מהם ככל כלשהו, הייתה ההוויה ההיא מתבטלת. והיה צמח ההוא, או החי ההוא, או העבר ההוא, על דרך משל קלה או נהדר. וכן נזכרו גם הפרטים. כיצד שנתח את הבהמה הקרבה לנתחיה, ומה לעשות בכל עבר ועבר, ומה לאכול, ומה לשרוף, ומי הוא אוכל, ומי הוא השורף, ומי המקריב מבין בני עדה שנצטוו על כך, הוא ולא אחר. ומה תהיינה תכונות המקריבים, שלא בהמום, לא חיסרון במראה פניהם, אף לא בבגדיהם, וכל שכן בבגדי הכהן הגדול שהותר להיכנס למקום, עניין האלוהים, מקום משכנה וארון התורה. He says, basically, what Bnei Yisrael got in Sinai is what? There are details, and a lot. How exactly the korbanot, and how it needs to look, and what to do, and what not to do, blah, 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 blah. Why details? Because details are what? Not like ideals. Details are what? Are physical. The details are actions that you do with your hands. Detail are actions that you need to care that will be important, that there are important the ways to look in the physical world. And that is important. Then in some ways that's the core. That is the center of the Jewish perspective. אשר להזרות לדרכי הקדושה והטהרה הקשורות בכל המעשים האלה והמדרגות ההתארות והתקדשות ולתפילות, הלא הן דברים אשר ירח תאורם. איננו לסמוך בזה כי אם על דברי תורה ומה שמסורנו חכמינו. הכל כדבר אלוה אל משה. Also what? Also the way we daven. Also the way what we eat, what we don't eat, what makes it holy, what makes it not holy. At the end of the day, it's all details that we got from Moshe. Think about it. That's fascinating. According to the Kuzari, Am Yisrael stands and listens to Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe's message from God. What Am Yisrael hears, he doesn't hear a great philosophy, not at all. He doesn't hear great poetry, not at all. Nothing. What he hears details, physical details. When you put a beged of arba kanfot, take care to put a tzitzit. Oh, a ganze shkoyach. That's what the Kadosh Baruch Hu has to tell Am Yisrael. But the answer is yes. Because the Kadosh Baruch Hu assumes that the spirit wants to be connected to him. Not every person has Yetzer Tov. Kadosh Baruch Hu assumed that when He speaks to me, to you, our spirit is almost dying. But the problem is not the spirit. The problem is the body. The problem is the connection between the spirit and the body, between the idea and the body. How you keep them connected, how you make the body involved. And the way to keep the body involved is only by mitzvot. Is only by doing actions. And when also the body involved and also the spirit is involved, what happens? Holiness. What happens? Kedusha. Ha'inyan Elohi. That is the source. That is the center of the Inyan Elohi. The connection between body and spirit. Kedusha can happen only when you have this connection. Only when you have also body and also spirit together. And I think that's basically the greatest message that Kuzari has to send. If we need to summarize the entire Kuzari book in one line, I would say the Kuzari perspective regarding life is that the Inyan Elohi is connected to mind, soul, and body, and physical appearance as one. It's not only intellect, it's not only neshama, it's not only spirituality. It is spirituality connected to gufaniyut. The ruchaniyut v'gufaniyut yachad is a combination of the two. If you have only one, you have no holiness. An ideal is not holy until you apply it in the world. And as we said, when you connect mind and body, what is the result? The result is morality. The result is musar. Umash and musar. A nation of morals. A nation that is the moral compass to the entire world. That is the ideal result of the connection of body and soul. And maybe that is the tip of the explanation of the Kuzari regarding Inyan Elohi, regarding Segulat Yisrael. Segulat Yisrael can happen only in the people that believe that body and soul, body and ideals, body and spirit connect. Only in this type of nation, the Inyan Elohi can settle. Only in this type of nation, Segulat Yisrael can actually happen.